In the glorious year 2140, humanity finally pulled itself together. Women had taken complete control of the planet. They were doing a much better job than the guys ever managed. The world wasn't full of war. Instead, society ran on discipline, peace, and enough technological advances. Instead of mega skyscraper cities, women moved everyone into countryside colonies. Every home had its very own AI housekeeper. Violence was extinct too, with the worst punishment you could get being a fine for putting plastic in the wrong trash can. Thanks to all this harmony, life expectancy had jumped to 150 years, which is great news unless you hate birthdays, because now you've got 120 of them to suffer through. The economy didn't run on money anymore, but on social points. You earned them by being a well-behaved citizen and lost them if you acted like a brat. The government even scheduled breaks where people were literally required to hug each other. That's 2140 for you. Enter Radha, a history teacher with the best job ever, reminding young girls that men used to run the planet. Her lessons were filled with stories about how dudes used to bring nothing but war, hate, and climate disasters. And then came the year 2030, when things went from bad to apocalyptic. Some scientists invented a virus to wipe out men in the US military. But of course, the virus leaked and quickly spread around the globe, killing 99% of the male population. That's when women took over, cleaned up the mess, and created a planet that looked like a utopian brochure. But of course, the few men that were born after this disaster had the worst luck. Male babies were incredibly rare, and when one did appear, he was tossed straight into the slums, the old cities left behind. Women basically considered them to be smelly primates who only lived for violence and naughty business. They barely made it to 30 years old, and nobody respected them. Among the curious students in Radha's class was Mila, and somewhere in this wasteland lived Gera, a man who wanted one thing in life: to get lucky with a woman before he kicked the bucket. His rival in the area was Baron, the self-proclaimed leader of the slums, whose main hobby was rallying the other men into forming an uprising against women. One of those speeches was rudely interrupted when Radha and her class rolled in, treating the men like zoo animals. The guys didn't like that at all, especially when one pulled down his pants as a prank. The awkward part? One of the girls thought that was a cultural greeting and politely lifted her skirt back. That escalated quickly. The men were ready to turn this field trip into spring break, so Radha quickly shoved the girls back onto the bus. But then she noticed Mila had wandered off. Radha found Mila staring at a duck, because animals were banned in the colony, and this was the first time Mila had ever seen one. But the magical moment got crushed when Gera appeared and immediately killed the poor duck. Nice first impression. When Radha screamed, Gera panicked, kissed her on the lips, and caused enough chaos that the men dragged the women away to face Baron. The leader decided they should hold a slap competition, and the winner would earn the privilege of sleeping with the women. Radha was about to faint, but Gera, trying to play the hero, stepped up. His opponent was a giant of a man, which made Gera instantly regret everything. His first slap did absolutely nothing, but when the giant swung back, he missed and accidentally slapped Baron unconscious. The crowd went nuts, and in all the chaos, Radha and Mila managed to escape back to their bus. Gera bolted too, because now Baron's men wanted him gone. Not long after, Gera hitched a ride inside some barrels on a bus that stopped for batteries. The owner of the bus was Yuliy, one of the rare seed keepers, men who were allowed to live among women and impregnate them. The bus drove itself, so Gera had no choice but to hang on. Yuliy got drunk on Gera's moonshine and literally yeeted himself off the bus, leaving Gera with the spare uniform. Seeing an opportunity, Gera impersonated Yuliy and tricked his way into the colony of Two Hills. An invisible barrier opened for him like magic, and suddenly he was surrounded by women who actually looked happy to see him. He was given a grand tour of paradise and then paraded on live TV, where he bit into a ceremonial apple and swore to father smart and healthy babies. His enthusiasm crashed when he learned reproduction didn't involve actual intimacy. Instead, a cold metal pipe got attached to him, and he was milked like a cow. Gera survived the night by fantasizing about Radha, who was coincidentally also thinking about him while she experimented with a forbidden toy. Talk about parallel lives. The next day, Gera discovered that being a seed keeper came with endless pampering. He got massages, delicious food, and constant attention. It was heaven. until his body started reacting a little too strongly to the situation. Desperate for relief, he tried to sneak into the bathroom for some alone time, only to set off alarms. Turns out both self-pleasure and regular intercourse were illegal. Meanwhile, Radha's life was falling apart because Mila snitched about their trip to the slums. During a trial, Radha's supposed best friend Aya betrayed her by revealing that Gera had kissed her. The entire courtroom gagged in disgust, and Radha was sentenced to community service. Back in the slums, poor Yuli had survived and made it home, only to get tangled in Baron's nonsense. Baron suspected Yuli was keeping secrets, broke his finger, and demanded his pants. Eventually, Yuli got dragged into a slap fight too, and to everyone's shock, he managed to beat the resident giant, earning temporary respect. While all this chaos went down, Gera and the other seed keepers were dragged through re-education sessions. Men were dirty monkeys, and intimacy was basically a war crime. Gera, being Gera, decided this was all lies and convinced the others to sneak around and live a little, and got rained on by fake clouds as punishment. Every misstep only made Gera seem like a rebellious legend in their eyes. He even hacked the system by discovering the rings on their fingers monitored self-pleasure, meaning they just had to switch hands to get away with it. Revolutionary stuff. Things heated up again when Gera crossed paths with Radha, who had been assigned as his caretaker as part of her punishment. They shared longing glances, awkward tension, and enough chemistry to fry an egg. But Radha still threatened to expose him if he didn't leave the colony soon. Gera's adventures didn't stop. He gained followers among the seed keepers, who loved his anti-establishment attitude, while Baron slowly lost control of the slums because Yuli was gaining power and even demanding democracy. It all led to messy elections. Back in Two Hills, Radha tried to protect Gera's secret, but betrayal and suspicion circled constantly. At one point, her grandmother Zoya stepped in, calling Gera cute and urging Radha to protect him. Zoya later pulled off heroic stunts like hiding fugitives in closets with her illegal pet, tackling guards, and even handing Gera a bike to break through the colony barrier at 80 kilometers per hour. This woman deserved her own spin-off series. Gera and Radha escaped briefly into the forest, where she screamed at the sight of roasted squirrel and immediately got them both captured again. Their bad luck meant endless new slap competitions and confusing romances. Yuli flip-flopped between being a hero and a creep. Radha tried to balance duty with her feelings, and Gera somehow kept surviving everything. Every time he nearly died, someone donated social points or protected him at the last second, like fate itself wanted this idiot to stick around. Eventually, Vera, Mila's scheming mother, emerged as the big villain, using her relationship with Baron to manipulate both sides. She blamed everything on Gera, set him up for execution, and had his thoughts projected on national TV to humiliate him. But instead of filth, his fantasies revealed tenderness, Titanic reenactments, and wholesome affection for Radha. The crowd fell for him instantly. In the end, Radha swore to take responsibility for him, saving his life. From there, the chaos snowballed. Vera plotted attacks using Baron's men. Elena, Radha's mom, ran for leadership. Every scheme Vera cooked up ended up failing in hilarious ways. Rigged elections backfired, slums rioted, orchards exploded, and even secret affairs leaked to the public. The climax came when Baron stormed Two Hills in an old car, kidnapped Radha and Elena, and threatened everyone with stolen weapons. The battle spiraled into slapstick madness, exploding milk bottles, collapsing cars, and prisoners breaking free. Vera tried to cover her tracks, but got double-crossed by the Supreme Mother, who had her hooked up to the thought machine. All her crimes were exposed, and she was booted from power. Elena was elected the new leader, balance was restored, and the colony finally had a chance at a future without manipulation. As for Gera and Radha, after all the running, slapping, escaping, and milkings, they finally admitted their feelings and shared their first proper night together. It wasn't smooth, it wasn't romantic, but hey, compared to everything else, it was practically a Disney ending. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more recaps, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story. Until next time, grab your popcorn, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next recap.